Hello, I'm here to help you understand this guide on using generative AI in supply chain management. Your world is complex, with market swings and disruptions. There's pressure to move things faster for less money, and you often spend time dealing with delays, inaccurate forecasts, or communication breakdowns. Imagine a smart assistant that could read reports, draft emails, and spot problems before they grow. This isn't science fiction. This is generative AI, a new tool to manage complexity. This guide is a practical handbook for professionals like you. It shows how this assistant helps with everyday tasks. We'll skip deep theory and get straight to applying it. Let's begin by understanding what generative AI is. Let's dive into what generative AI is, in simple terms. As the guide says, forget robots, think supercharged assistant. When you hear AI, you might think of complex code. For our purposes, it's much simpler. Think of generative AI as a tool that creates new content. This can be text, summaries, or ideas. It works like a very fast, knowledgeable assistant you can talk to. You give it information and an instruction, and it generates a response for you to review. This is different from what many supply chain systems already use, which is predictive AI. It helps to know the difference between these two types of AI. Predictive AI is what many supply chain systems already use. It looks at historical data and answers the question, what will likely happen? For example, it might predict you'll sell 10,000 units next quarter. Generative AI is different. It answers the question, what should I create? For example, you could tell it, draft an email to the marketing team about this new sales forecast. See how one forecasts and the other creates. This distinction is important for understanding how each can help you. How does generative AI understand you? It uses something called a large language model, or LLM, which is the brain trained on vast amounts of text. The instruction you give it is called a prompt. A prompt is just a question or a command. The better your prompt, the better the AI's first draft will be. It's a conversation. You guide the assistant to get the result you need. Crafting good prompts is a key skill. It's about being clear and providing context, which we will explore more in later lessons. So much of your job is about two things: communication and making sense of data. You write emails, create reports, talk to suppliers, and try to find important signals in a sea of information. This is where generative AI helps. Its main benefits for your work include automating repetitive communication. It can draft routine emails, alerts, and notifications in seconds. It also excels at summarizing complex data quickly, reading long reports or data sets, and giving you the main points. Finally, it can generate solutions, helping you brainstorm responses to unexpected problems. Let's look at a simple example mentioned in the guide. Before generative AI, you might spend an hour every morning reading through daily shipping reports from 3 different carriers, trying to spot critical delays. After generative AI, you can give those reports to a GenAI tool and ask, summarize today's critical shipping delays from these reports and list the top 3 causes. You get a starting point in just 30 seconds. This shows how generative AI helps you work faster and smarter, giving you a head start on your daily tasks. Let's recap what we've covered in this first lesson. We introduced generative AI as a smart assistant, distinguishing it from predictive AI by its ability to create, not just forecast. We learned about large language models and the importance of good prompts. Most importantly, we saw how GenAI can automate communications, summarize complex data, and generate solutions for your supply chain work. This sets the stage for our next lessons, where we'll explore specific applications in more detail. Welcome back. In our last lesson, we covered the basics of generative AI and how it differs from predictive AI. Now we're going to explore its practical applications in 2 core areas of supply chain management: demand forecasting and inventory management. This guide shows how GenAI can enhance, not just replace, traditional methods by analyzing qualitative data and generating scenarios. It will free up your time for more strategic tasks. Traditional forecasting is powerful, but has limits. It mainly relies on historical sales data. If the future looks different from the past due to new trends or global events, your forecast can be wrong. It tells you what happened, but not always why or what might happen next. Generative AI adds a new layer. It can analyze huge amounts of unstructured data, things like news reports, social media posts, and industry articles. This helps you understand the why behind the numbers. It provides context that pure sales data lacks, allowing you to anticipate shifts in demand before they show up in your sales figures. In short, it helps you see around the corner. Here's a practical application for your team: market trend analysis. Get a quick read on what's happening in your market. Instead of spending hours on research, ask the AI for a summary. For example, you could prompt, "Analyze recent articles about consumer sentiment in the home goods sector and list the top 5 emerging trends." An outdoor equipment company, for instance, used a GenAI tool to scan news for sustainability trends. The AI generated a weekly summary of how these trends might impact demand for their new eco-friendly product line. This gives their planning team insights their historical data could never provide. Another key use is scenario planning. Prepare for potential disruptions by having the AI generate possible outcomes as a starting point for your strategy. An example prompt: "Our main competitor just launched a new product. Generate 3 possible scenarios for how this could impact our Q4 sales and suggest one proactive step for each." You can also use it for summarizing sales data. Quickly get the main takeaways from a raw data file without building complex reports. For instance, here's our sales data for the last quarter. Write a 1-paragraph summary highlighting the best performing product and the region with the slowest growth. This saves valuable analysis time. Now, let's move to Smarter Stock, generative AI for intelligent inventory management. How many hours do you spend on inventory administration? Writing emails about low stock and updating purchase orders is time-consuming. This is time you could be spending on strategic work, like optimizing stock levels or finding cost savings. Generative AI can automate these routine messages and then help with the strategic work too. This section shows how GenAI can automate communication and documentation related to inventory, freeing up time for strategic tasks. Consider these use cases. For automated replenishment alerts, imagine your inventory system flags low stock. Instead of just a numerical alert, it can trigger a GenAI tool to draft a clear email to the procurement manager. The AI can pull in data to create a message like, "Stock for item X is at the reorder point. Sales velocity is up 15% this month. Please create a purchase order for 500 units to maintain 4 weeks of supply." For generating product descriptions, when new products are added, GenAI can create consistent first drafts for your internal systems based on specifications. For example, write a 100-word product description for an ergonomic office chair. Key features: lumbar support, mesh back, adjustable arms, 5-year warranty. Beyond communication, GenAI can also help you analyze inventory issues and develop action plans. For root cause analysis for stockouts, when you have a stockout, GenAI can act as a first-level analyst. Prompt: "We had a stockout for product SKU 9876. Review the attached sales data, supplier lead times, and forecast history. Suggest 3 likely root causes for this stockout." For managing slow-moving inventory, excess inventory costs money. GenAI can help brainstorm strategies. Prompt: "The following 10 items have been in inventory for over 180 days. Generate a list of 3 marketing or sales strategies to help clear this stock." These are practical ways to use GenAI for strategic insights. Let's recap this lesson. We learned that generative AI enhances demand forecasting by analyzing unstructured data for context and generating what-if scenarios. It also helps summarize data quickly. In inventory management, GenAI automates routine communications like replenishment alerts and product descriptions. It can analyze data to suggest root causes for stockouts and brainstorm strategies for slow-moving inventory. This frees you up for more strategic work. Next, we'll explore its role in logistics and supplier relationships. Welcome back. In our last lesson, we explored how generative AI sharpens demand forecasts and makes inventory management smarter. Now we're moving on to how GenAI can create a faster flow in logistics and transportation and build better partnerships in supplier relationship management. Logistics is often about managing exceptions, like a storm closing a highway or a ship delay. When these things happen, you need to communicate quickly. This is where generative AI helps, by automating communication during disruptions and summarizing complex performance data. Logistics means managing many exceptions: a storm, a delayed ship. When these happen, quick communication is key. This is where generative AI helps with AI-powered communication. Imagine a weather API flags a snowstorm near a key transport hub. This can trigger GenAI to immediately draft notifications for all affected customers. This frees up your team to find solutions instead of typing emails. For example, a prompt could be, draft a customer service notification about potential shipping delays in the Northeast US due to Winter Storm Leo. Maintain a reassuring tone and provide a link to our tracking portal. This proactive approach saves critical time. You need to know how your carriers are performing, but you don't always have time to dig through spreadsheets. You can feed performance data to a GenAI and ask for simple summaries. For example, analyze this carrier performance data. Which carrier had the best on-time delivery rate last month, and which had the worst? Present the answer as a simple list. Beyond that, logistics is full of documentation. GenAI can help streamline these processes. For simplifying customs documentation, it can suggest harmonized system, or HS codes based on product descriptions, giving your team a solid starting point for classification. For creating weekly logistics reports, automate the first draft, saving you from a blank page. Now, let's explore how generative AI fosters better partnerships in supplier relationship management. Clear communication is the foundation of a good supplier relationship, but crafting careful professional emails takes time. GenAI can act as your co-pilot, drafting messages so you can focus on the strategy. It shows professionals how to use GenAI to manage supplier communications more effectively, from negotiation to issue resolution. This can significantly reduce the administrative burden and allow you to focus on the human aspect of relationships. Here are key use cases. For resolving shipment issues, a shipment arrives damaged. You need to contact the supplier, but also keep a positive relationship. GenAI helps you strike the right tone. Prompt: draft a polite but firm email to our supplier, ABC Corp, about purchase order 12345. State that 15% of the units were damaged. Ask them to propose a solution. For generating RFPs and queries, speed up procurement. Prompt: create an RFP template for sourcing new packaging materials. Include sections for company background, material specifications, pricing, and delivery timelines. This significantly cuts down on initial drafting time. GenAI also helps in strengthening partnerships. You want to share a positive forecast with a key supplier. GenAI can draft a proactive message. Prompt: draft a brief, positive email to our partner, XYZ Supplies. Share that our forecast for product shaft ABC has increased by 20% for Q3. Mention we appreciate their partnership. This helps maintain strong relationships. Furthermore, GenAI helps in analyzing supplier performance and risk. Your team has informal feedback about suppliers. GenAI can make sense of this qualitative data. Prompt: review these internal team comments about supplier XYZ from the past year. Summarize their key strengths and weaknesses into 3 bullet points for each. Generative AI can also aid in risk assessment in contracts. AI can serve as a first-pass reviewer for supplier contracts, helping you quickly identify key clauses. This saves time and helps you focus on critical areas. For example, you can prompt, scan this supplier agreement and highlight any clauses related to liability and termination conditions. Do not provide legal advice. Remember, generative AI is a tool to assist, not to replace expert human judgment or legal counsel. It just gives you a strong starting point for your review. Let's recap this lesson. In logistics, generative AI helps manage disruptions by drafting customer alerts in seconds and summarizes carrier performance data. It also speeds up weekly reports and customs documentation. For supplier relationship management, GenAI enables quick drafting of emails for issue resolution, RFP generation, and strengthening partnerships. It also helps analyze supplier performance and risk in contracts. This makes communication clearer and faster, allowing you to focus on strategy. In our final lesson, we will look at how to take your first steps in using GenAI. Welcome to our final lesson. We've covered how generative AI can transform demand forecasting, inventory management, logistics, and supplier relationships. Now we're going to focus on getting started. Putting AI to work doesn't require a big project or budget. You can begin experimenting today. This lesson provides a simple, actionable framework for you to start using generative AI in your own job immediately. It also addresses common concerns like data privacy and the necessity of human verification, and looks at the road ahead for AI augmented supply chains. The guide outlines a simple 4-step plan to get started with generative AI. Step 1. Identify a low stakes task. Don't try to solve your biggest problem first. Start with something small and repetitive, like summarizing a report or drafting a standard email. Step 2. Choose your tool. Many GenAI tools are available, some public like ChatGPT or Google Gemini, others integrated into existing software. Pick one and try it out. Remember, the goal is to experiment and learn, not to perfect from day one. Step 3. Practice your prompting. Getting good results from an AI is a skill. The key is to be clear and provide context. A good prompt might be, write an email about a late shipment. A better prompt is, draft a polite email to our customer, XYZ Inc., informing them that their order number 555 is delayed by 3 days due to a carrier issue. Apologize and provide the new estimated delivery date of October 29th. The more specific you are, the better the AI's first draft will be. It's about guiding the AI effectively. Step 4. Review and refine. Treat the AI's output as a first draft, not a final product. As the guide notes, it gets you 80% of the way there. Your job is to review, edit, and add your expertise. The goal is to work faster, not to eliminate human oversight. A quick warning: what not to do. Avoid using confidential or sensitive company data in public AI tools. Always follow your company's data security policies. Also, don't trust the AI's output without verification. It can make mistakes. Always review for accuracy before using it. Human judgment remains critical. Here's a simple checklist of tasks you can try right now, as suggested in the guide. Try to summarize a long email thread and identify the action items. Draft a follow-up email to a supplier who missed a deadline. Brainstorm 3 potential causes for a recent increase in shipping costs. Rewrite a technical logistics update into a simple summary for the sales team. Or create a checklist for onboarding a new carrier. Your turn. What is one repetitive task you did this week that you could try automating with generative AI next week? Pick one and give it a try. We've covered a lot of ground, but the core message is simple. Generative AI is a tool. It's not here to replace your expertise. It's here to act as your assistant, handling the repetitive parts of your job so you can focus on the strategic thinking that really matters. We've seen how it can add context to forecasts, automate inventory communications, provide clarity during logistics disruptions, and streamline supplier interactions. In each case, the goal is the same: to help you work smarter and faster. The key to success is to start small. Be curious, pick a simple task, and see what happens. View it as a learning process. As the guide states, the professionals who embrace these tools will be the ones who lead the supply chains of the future, not by letting AI do their jobs, but by using it to do their jobs better. To continue your journey with generative AI in the supply chain, the guide recommends some helpful resources. For strategic insights, search Harvard Business Review for articles on generative AI in operations, or AI in supply chain. MIT Sloan Management Review offers research-backed articles on practical technology applications in business, and Supply Chain Dive features articles on how technology is being applied in the industry today. Keep exploring, keep learning, and start experimenting with generative AI to truly transform your supply chain work.